Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do begin, let me go ahead and give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happening. Now, Deku, he had a very intense conversation with his therapist. He finally opened up about what happened at the Sierra Madre. Miss Sutton, his therapist, told him that she had the ability to seal the record on the events. However, she does at least need to know something about what happened there. It isn't healthy with what happened. Marcy's opened up about her trauma and has talked about certain events. She has skipped over some things. Chloe, she is repressing some of her trauma. She blames herself for sending them to that place. But Deku, he's the survivalist. He's the man who was in charge of taking care of their weapons and taking care of their food, which the two have avoided the topic of conversation. Deku, however, told the therapist about what happened. Whenever they were desperate for food, they had to turn to eating the creatures that were hunting them. And it was a horrifying revelation for the woman to hear. She knows that desperate acts can happen on the surface. From the way the world's been described, people have to fight tooth and nail to survive. And it's safer inside of cities. But how safe isn't safe. Now, after this happened, Deku, he went to go blow off some steam with some lifting. However, he ran into Miss Stevens, who she wanted to see if Deku wanted to fight. She also wanted to blow off some steam. However, she got a little flirty with Deku. And Deku, he had to leave for a meeting with the Overseer after the two had a short little conversation. He tried to intimidate her. However, she responded with a grin. Deku talked to the Overseers about what he wanted to do. First of all, he wants them to continue with the deal he made with the Van Graffs. It's good for them. Second of all, he wants to take the mutants out under the sun. He also wants to train them. If they are fighting normal people, those people are going to be seriously injured or killed by accident. And that won't help them. Number 3, he wanted to take them out into the wasteland on an expedition. Going out there into the world is the best possible bet for them. Feeling like you're trapped down here, like you're trapped in the airport, isn't good for their health. Mentally, they're still in those cages. This place is just a bigger environment. Seeing how big the world actually is could help them. And Deku, he did interrupt the session of therapy for the mutants. However, it was nearly over, and the therapist was quite surprised when Deku announced a trip to the surface and even talked about fighting different people. Now, that was all quite interesting. However, Miss Sutton informed 2 of her assistants about what to do. Go call medical and meet them above, since this may turn ugly. And Deku himself, he went to go get some boxing tape. And right now they do find themselves on the surface. Deku is facing off against Tracy, Victor, and Aiden. 3 people who are strong. Victor is a gator claw mutated experiment. Tracy, she's been spliced with a rabbit or a bunny. And Aiden is a death claw, just like Deku. And right now, he does stand there waiting for the 3 to attack. The rules are quite simple. Deku holding up his hand. He wants them to come at him with everything. Remember, if they change, he changes. And it won't be easy. If they're worried about hurting him or sending him to medical, then they gotta remember. They can be pushed to quite the extreme. And everyone, they do to stare at Deku's torso, which does give a visual example about it. They all know he's been impaled. The scar on his back is a very good indicator, and the scar on his front, it does display how much damage has been done to him. And he survived, he's walked it off. Hell, looking at these two now, compared to 5 months ago whenever some of them saw him, including Aiden, he looked nearly emaciated. However, he's packed on a lot more onto his frame. And right now, the three do get to stand there. As there is Tracy. Tracy's the first one who does get a move. Right now, her coming in for an attack. She does it to bum rush Deku across the concrete ground, and when she does it to finally feel the sand in her toes, it does feel strange. However, it only inspires her more. Her coming at Deku and going to bring up her hands to throw a punch. Though Deku, he does go to step backwards and away, throwing up his own hand as she does go to turn and lean backwards. Before, she's going to throw up her foot to try and hit him in the face. Deku going to duck down and go to push forwards. Him smashing in the chest with both hands as they are flying backwards into the dirt. As which, he does have to bring up his fist and turn to the other two, asking if they do want to give it a shot. And Tracy, she does go to feel winded but getting back to her feet. Her turning back to Deku and going to rush at him again. And the two, they do to stare on, looking at each other and trying to think. Tracy does come in, her throwing a left hook that Deku does get a catch, her going to spin as she does a bring up her hand and then go to do something else, throwing down her right leg and crashing it into the back of Deku's. Him falling forwards as she does a turn, spinning her body and crashing a right hook across his face. Her going to pull back her hand as Deku, he does still have a grip on her wrist. But he does still have a grip on her other hand. Right now, her going to lean forwards and go to throw her foot and her knee directly into his chest. Deku letting go as he does go to bring a hand up, slapping her leg out of the way as she does a bend forwards and go to throw her hand palm forward at his forehead. And this, Deku, he does get a take. Before there is the other two do go to start rushing towards him. Him stumbling backwards up onto his feet and going to be ready. And everyone, they do begin to watch. Victor does come in. Right now, Tracy does get to step back and try to catch her breath, since he's definitely got the power behind his punches. And right now, there is where Victor does come in. Him going to try and punch at Deku, though Deku, he does go to dodge. Throwing out a punch to his side as Victor, he has to take the blow and step forwards, crashing Deku across the face as there is Aiden. Aiden, he does it to watch these two try and interact. Right now, the two, they do begin to exchange some blows and the strength can be seen. It is interesting. He does a stagger backwards. Right now, Deku on the aggressive side. Him throwing jabs as the man does try to back away, bringing his arms to block. And when he does a throw a punch at Deku, he does get to bring up his hands to try and block himself. However, he is also trying to keep his footwork up, trying to stay on the move. Him going to turn and throw himself backwards towards the ground. And when he does so, Tracy does it to crash her foot directly into Victor's arm. Right now, him going to jump back up as he does go to push the two over. And when that does it to happen, the two to go balling over into the ground. Deku getting back to his feet and beginning to back away. him hopping from foot to foot and telling both of them that he was really expecting a lot more. Right now, him holding up the boxing tape that does begin to show patterns of blood. Flakes of it still on the tape. And Aiden does this stare look at Deku. Right now, him not too sure if he can face off against him that way. So, he does go to focus, sucking a breath and pulling in part of his animalistic side. And when Deku does get to see that he's the first one to change, he does feel a little disappointed. However, he does get it. He's facing off against someone with more experience. So, this should be interesting. He wonders how this'll go. Aiden beginning to rush at him. Right now, him a little larger and beginning to tear his suit. And the speed he does get to see from Aiden does impress him. The two getting back to their feet and seeing that. Deku staggering backwards as he's a dodge a swipe and then gonna step forwards. Him crashing a fist into the muzzle hard. Though Aiden does take the blow and then gonna swipe with his left arm. Him crashing Deku on his right as he does try to block the attack. And he does begin to try and pull more on his Deathclaw side. Him going to feel it. He can feel his heart throbbing in his chest. He can feel a massive amount of aggression towards Deku. He wants to see how far he can push himself. However, he already does feel like he's walking against a tightrope. Something about this transformation. It's foreign. It's not nice. It's not good to him. He doesn't like the way it feels in his mind. He doesn't want to deal with this monster. And right now, he does go to try and rush Deku again. Him trying to get on top of him as Deku, he does gonna throw his foot up, crashing it into the back of Aiden's knee. Him falling forwards as Deku, he does gonna bring up his hands, grabbing Aiden by his horns as he does try to stand back up. Deku flying up into the air just a little bit as he does go to let go and then gonna drop back down to his feet. And he does stand there in front of a 9-foot tall Deathclaw humanoid. Aiden beginning to pull more on that animal side. And Deku does get a turn. Right now, him blocking a strike from Tracy, who herself has already began pulling on her mutations. And whenever he does to block the kick, she does go to throw up her other foot. Her throwing her other foot down quickly and trying to strike Deku again. This time, him taking the blow as he does feel it bash into his shoulder hard. And there is where Deku, he does going to move backwards. Aiden trying to swipe at him as he does a turn looking at the bunny chick. Him burying his fingers towards her as Deku does get a whistle, catching their attention as he does a look around for Victor. And Victor, he does still stand there in his human form. He's not sure about pulling on that side of himself. He's not sure if he can control it. And Deku does get to tell Victor, bring up his hands about how he can take it. Come on. The whole point of this is to gain control. Besides, Deku beginning to pull on his own mutations. And everyone does get to watch as Deku's arms do begin to enlarge. His body does begin to expand. And Tracy does stare at Deku as he does go from being smaller than her to being larger. Right now, him matching Aiden size for size. And whenever Victor does see that, Deku, he does go to speak. It gets tricky, but practice is what it is. This is new. It's something to do. Him rushing forwards as Aiden himself does get a move, not thinking about it, as Tracy does get to back away and watch these two clash. But whenever they do to ball into each other, Deku, he does go to crash into Aiden and go to throw him to the ground. Him getting on top of him and bringing his hands up, bashing him in the chest before he does watch Aiden slash across his hide with his large claws. And whenever Aiden does try and kick Deku off, Deku, he does go to be sent flying. Him crashing down to the ground as Victor, he does go to embrace the change. He lets his mind go hazy. And whenever he does begin to adapt and change, his skin does start to turn green. His face does begin to elongate. And he does go to feel it. Right now, him turning and rushing towards Deku. And Deku, the moment he does go to watch these two rushing towards him, he does go to pull on his Deathclaw side more. Whenever he does go to stand in and large, Aiden, he does go to rush Deku. However, he is a long one for Deku. He does go to batter him away. Victor lunging forwards and swiping his claws across Deku's chest. Him going to throw his jaw forwards and biting at Deku's forearm. And Deku, when this does get to happen, he does go to bring up his left hand, grabbing Aiden by his maw and pulling his arm out. Before he does go to grab him and turn, chucking him over his shoulder. People watch the massive creature be sent flying over 20 feet. Him crashing to the ground as Deku does a turn and watch Tracy. Right now, she has been going to try and pull more and more on that side of herself. And Deku, he does get to see her vault suit tearing more. As she does go to begin rushing at him. Her on all fours as Deku, he's alarmed by her speed. Him watching as she's to bring her hands up and going to crash directly into his chest. Her kicking off of him and staggering him backwards. As when she does it to land, she does it to come in. Her going to rush him again as Deku does throw his arm down, trying to cut off her path. However, the moment he does it to do so, she does it to come in and turn, grabbing into the sand and going to kick Deku in the face. Her going to do so repeatedly as Deku, he's not sure if he took 5 or 8 kicks. However, whenever he does go to throw out his hand, he does it to clip her on the side. Her going airborne, crashing the ground, and getting back up. And there is where Aiden does it a bum rush Deku. Right now, him all out and rushing at him. And he does go to bring his hand up and go to toss out sand at Deku. Him seeing that and being surprised, bring his hand up to block his eyes as Aiden does come in and smash Deku in the chest, bringing his hands up and going to grab at his sides. And over Deku does a roar out at this, he's to throw his arms down, crash him into Aiden's back. Him going to watch as Tracy does come lunging directly for his face. And she does a bite down on Deku's cheek. And over Deku does get a turn, he does go to throw Aiden to the ground and bring his hands up, wrapping one of his massive arms around Tracy's torso, pulling her away as she does try to scratch and throw her claws out at him again. And he does go to bring his other hand up, him covering her head and going to say, "Pop, she would have been dead." Him going to toss her towards the ground, and she does land on her feet, talking about it. She's out. She has Victor crashing into him, and he does go stumbling to the ground as Aiden, he does get back to his feet. And Victor does slash his claws across Deku's torso, him battering his fist down and down and down, trying to see if Deku is as strong as he does claim. This guy went to the surface. He came back. He got frozen when he went to the surface after years of the shit he went through. And Victor, he does begin to release that aggression on Deku. Deku bring his arms up as he does take slice after slice after slice. His hide is protecting him. However, it does begin to get worn down by the animalistic fury being sent towards it. And whenever Deku does go to fully extend his arms, he does go to crash Victor in both sides of his neck, him roaring out a sound as he does going to fall over. And this is where Deku does get a turn getting to his feet, looking at Aiden and glaring at him. And when he does it to lower his head, Deku, he does go to express. It's over. Him beginning to shrink down. And when he does so, there is where people do begin to rush over. Right now, Deku, his boxing tape is gone. However, his suit, it does have multiple tears and repairs that do need to be taken into consideration. Victor, he does lay there on the ground and he is trying to shrink back down. However, that is a bigger challenge for him at the moment. Tracy, she does stand there, still in her full grown size, still with her eyes blazing ready to fight. And Aiden, he is trying to shrink back down. And he is finding that it is a little difficult, trying to calm himself after his heart is pounding the way it is. And Izuku, he does have someone come running up to him as he does a turn to the medic. Him glancing up as his expression immediately does go to freeze. Chelsea. Hi, I saw your fight. Yeah, sorry. Who else is here? I can treat your wounds, asshole. Besides, I'm a doctor. I know. I'm saying who else is up here. My wounds aren't that bad. I heal fast. Her rolling her eyes and going to extend her hands. Talking about how he can't be himself right now, just let her see. And he does it to hold up his arms. Her going to stare at them and seeing the slices that do go to cover his arms and torso. And she does get to hand him a stim pack. Deku going to turn when she does go to talk about it. She was hoping to have a conversation with him. Another time? Maybe later. We're busy at the moment. Yeah, you drew a crowd. Him walking away as she does get to turn to the others. And Victor, when he does get to finally get to his feet, two people, they are trying to help him. However, there is where Deku does make his way over to the others and they do get to stare at him, talking about it. He was holding back a bit, but they did very well. Now, if anyone does want to fight, talk to each other. They can get permission and come up here. Though, Deku turning his head when he does sniff the air. And whenever he does get to see someone standing there in a medical uniform, a lab coat, he does get a glare directly at her. As Mia does get to turn her head and act like she was trying to help treat somebody who was hurt. And Izuku does get to turn, walking over to her. Yeah, your injuries don't look that bad. Just some rest, some ice, and a stim pack should help out. Though, do you think that you really do need it, Aiden? I should be fine. Though, Mia, what are you doing? Oh, well, they needed volunteers, and I wanted to see the fight. Listen, I know you said you didn't want me to be on the surface, but look at the sky. Mia, I came up here to help, okay? People were busy, and I heard you guys were gonna brawl. I wanted to see it, it was cool. You saw it? Yeah. You know, you're kind of like Grognak the Barbarian now. Really? Yeah. Besides, you turned into that 20-foot tall lizard. What the fuck was that thing? That's a death claw. Really? I mean, I heard you can transform, and you're scary like that. Like, really scary. But in a cool way, though. Like the Silver Shroud, or, well, during that one comic run he had. Really? You're not afraid? Oh no, it was terrifying. But it was cool. Really? Yeah. Listen, I got permission to come up here. I'm one of the lab techs who help out the doctors. You can't protect me from the world, Izuku. I'm a grown woman. I will talk about this more later. You can come up to the airport, but what I'm talking about is going outside those gates. Outside those gates is a world you've never explored, you've never known. I've seen grown people get torn to shreds out there, die, because they thought they could survive another day. Mia, just be careful and listen. Don't try to leave the airport. I know you want to see Vegas. Trust me, I know you do. But it's dangerous. Yeah, sure. Listen, I have to go back down. We were busy with a few other things that we still have to get in order. But we can talk more later, okay? Besides, talk to Mom and Dad. Mom's worried about you. I mean, Dad's worried about you, and you know how he is. He's not a hard on his sleeves guy. Not like you are. Mia. Dad and I are not on very good terms. Why? Because we just aren't. Sorry. I'm just trying to control my temper, and I'm not trying to lose my cool with you. But you just don't get it. Because you're not letting me get it. I get it, you're a logical guy. You've had to put a lot of things on the line. No, you really don't get it, Mia. Deku whirring up his hand and pointing at her. You just can't. When you go out there, and I'm sure you will, I want you to be surrounded by the best. I want you to not have to deal with what we did. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried because I care. I get it. I hope you do. Don't do anything stupid. Him turning and making his way over to the others, informing them. Now, he's already talked about potentially choosing some of them for an expedition. Those three have some pretty moderate control over their powers. But he wants to know who has better control. Now, he's not making it a mandatory thing to spar with him, but he would say it would be a good idea for them to try and pull more on their sides. Pull more on that instinct they feel in their body. It might hurt. It might burn. And it might feel like their body is trying to tear itself apart. But after some time, it gets better. He feels different. And once things do try to blend, it gets better. Blend? What do you mean? Sherry. I mean, it's hard to explain without a therapist. I'm still here, Mr. Midoriya. Okay. For a long time, I saw myself and the creature as different entities. I see. After some time, I stopped trying to think like that. It got better. I got more control. I didn't let the instincts dominate me, I dominated them. And me and the creature work together now. I'm it and it's me. This sounds like a mental block, something that you removed. I guess. I'm not a psychology major. I'm not that in tune with how the brain's functions are. I just know some stuff about how to patch it up and other stuff about how putting a bullet through it will make it stop working, along with how certain things can affect it. I see. And that's it. Listen, when the overseers do talk about a bigger expedition, then we can all meet up again. See about how things do go on there. For right now, though, I would like to shower and clean up all this blood off of me. Along with talk to someone in the manufacturing department about some new clothes. And beginning to walk away. And Miss Sutton, she does get a turn to the others and seeing their reactions. Some of them untensed when they got up here. Some of them got better. And others, they seem to be just looking around and trying to understand the environment. Right now, however, Deku, he does head back down. He feels conflicted about a few different things that have happened today. He got to finally change again. And it felt more natural than ever. Along with that, he got to actually fight and scratch that itch he's had for a while. Throw around some force, see what he can do. He's changing too. Everything's been changing. His sister isn't that same reckless teenager she was before. She's a young woman who wants to explore the world. He's trying to protect her because he knows how brutal that world can be. Chelsea wants to talk. They've seen each other in passing. But that's just it. He's seen her, her son, and her husband. And now they're going to have a conversation. Yeah, maybe not. He doesn't want to talk with her. That's old news, that's the past. This going through Deku's head. He's already showered and has washed the blood off of him. His wounds will heal fully soon. And right now, he does sit down to eat, still trying to think about the situation with Tracy. She's not a very bad combatant at all. She definitely does live up to that reputation of being one of the strongest hand-to-hand combatants in the championship history of their vault. Then again, trying to fight while mutated is a different story. He definitely wants to see a brawl between her and Chloe. Those two could definitely throw hands with each other. Then again, Deku was just a lot going through his head. How exactly to plan things out for the surface team? Who he would take? Victor and Aiden. The two are not happy about their abilities. They're not trying to run with the animal. They're still trying to tame it. Still trying to handle it. It's that feral aggressive nature. Yeah, no, he can understand that. But then there's everybody else. I mean, Sherry's a lynx. Logan's been spliced with ant DNA. Michael, he can fly with that bird DNA. Julia wanted to brawl. He could tell whenever he was leaving she wanted to fight. But She didn't want to go all out. Some of them seemed antsy too. Maybe it's just the surface, curiosity, wanting to explore more, taking in the fresh air. The air is definitely fresher since the Gek went off. A hand finally laying on his shoulders, Deku, he does go to freeze and go to turn. Right now, him having the scent of Marcy hit his nose. Him finally registering that she's here. And she does get to lean down and forwards. Her wrapping her arms around his shoulders and asking if he's alright. Fine. I was just in deep thought. You almost startled me. I'm sure. Are you hungry? I'm eating right now. Not really what I meant. Her going to whisper something into his ear. Right now, Deku cutting into a Salisbury steak. As whenever he does it to bring it up, he does go to pause. Her going to pat him on the shoulder and go to nuzzle the side of his head before she has to pull away and go to turn to leave. And Deku does a glance at his fork. Looking down at the Salisbury steaks he does have left. He's already eaten 8. And he was trying to finish these 3. But he might just have found some other plans. He doesn't want to waste the food, but at the same time, he really wants to go. Well, no, can he eat this fast? Should he even try? No, that's a very bad idea. He'll just eat this up later. He'll heat it up later. Him going to quickly slam his utensils down and go to jump from his chair. Him turning to go join Marcy. The night, it certainly does fly by. And there is actually the next morning. Deku, he does get to drag himself out of bed. A lot going through his mind. And he does feel good. He feels better after yesterday. He got to fight. He got to go outside. He got to do quite a bit. And right now, he does go to make his way into the living room to make some coffee and sit down. There's a lot that is going through his head. Most importantly, if he is in control of the mutants, he's going to need to get things sorted out for them. He can go work out, go for a run, and then see about hitting the gym. Take them all out for a run in the morning, maybe do a bit more combat training with each other, and then go into lifting. Afterwards, he can go to the machine shop and help out with the quads they're making. Those would be better for their expedition. Being on 2 tires? Yeah. They definitely did mess up that motorcycle quite a little bit. But a quad. That would be better suited for them. For their weight. Then there's the fact that he does want to finish up on making that compound bolt. And a new knife. Yeah. A new knife would definitely be something he does want to make. He could try to repair Chances, but that thing is at the edge of its rope. If he does repair it, he'll just have to retire it. He does still have a tomahawk. And that thought is interrupted by a knocking on his door. Him getting up and making his way over. Before, whenever he does go to open it, he does see 2 people standing there. Them quite alarmed since they didn't expect someone to be here so quickly. And he does go to stare at the 2, who do look on quite surprised. Hi. Oh, we're your new neighbors. Uh huh. You're Mr. Midoriya. If I'm correct, you are. Ah, well, yes. We were hoping to catch you yesterday, but when we tried to knock, you weren't here. And when we tried to knock again, there was quite a commotion coming from your residence. Uh huh. And we decided to leave it alone. But we're glad we could catch you this morning. Yes, me and my wife. We're quite happy about that, but we wanted to give you this basket. You're still not used to the vault, from what we understand? Deku looking down and seeing the basket. Him staring at it, as it does have quite a lot of things inside of it. Certain sweets, certain juices, a bottle of wine, some whiskey, some rum, some tequila, along with a container of what Deku can only assume to be popcorn. And this does intrigue him. Right now, him gonna take the basket and pull up the container of juice. Him going to grab the top of his teeth and pull it off. Before he does, gonna spit it to the side and tell the two of them, taking a sip. It's nice to meet them. Then again, he was going over a few things for the morning routine. He doesn't wish to end this early, but he has a lot he's going to need to deal with. Ah, yes, well, I see that you are busy. We're not your only morning visitors. Them going to bring their hand up and wave someone over. Before talking about how they'll just be going now. And, if it's not too much trouble to please try to keep the noise down. They do have a newborn and, well, they can get a little cranky if they don't get their sleep. Deku waving his hand. And the person and his wife do to quickly move away. Deku turning and going to see someone he didn't expect. As right now, there is where Deku, he does get to see Victor. And the man, he does get to stare at Deku, his arms crossed and going to express. He was hoping to have a bit of a chat. Where are you now? About? May I come in? No. Why? Because if you want to have a chat, we can have it here. Listen, Victor. I know you don't really seem to like me. That I can tell. Trust me, it's obvious. What do you want? How did you gain control? Time, effort, and practice. Stress. Mostly. It's one hell of a motivator. You have to build yourself up to it. You have to practice and be more in control of your emotions. I see. And is that it? No. It's not at all. You need to stop thinking of two different people inside one body. You're one. That thing doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. If you can accept that, then tough titties. You got me? I see. Well, that is interesting. I want to go with you to Vegas. We have to see what the Overseer says first. If the Council agrees to let me take others, then I may pick you. However, I want to see how your guys' performance is. They're going to take some time to vote on it. Until then, try to improve. The man going to nod and cross his arms. And Deku can tell he's not happy about it. Him about to turn as Deku does go to express, he will say one thing, and that is, if you want to improve, start working harder. Start leaning into it, not pushing away. I noticed that Aiden was not confident in himself. You are. You wish to attack me before transforming. You were more reluctant. You have to get rid of that. You guys could learn a thing from each other. Also, if you guys work together, you may be able to take me down. Then again, I'm not so sure of that. I'm not the same thing I was. What does that mean? I don't know. I know a few things about Deathclaws in the region. I've heard about a lot, but I haven't really. I don't know the best way to explain it. In my time outside of Vegas, we've heard about a few different types of Deathclaws. Some that can turn invisible, some that were crazy powerful, some that were huge. And you're the big one? No, I'm not. I don't know what I am. I'm big, I'm mean, I'm strong. I'm in control. I'm able to pull on it, but all this stuff recently has been messing with my head, making me feel strange. I get that. It's been happening to a lot of people. I'm sure it has. Victor? Sorry. I got lost in my own head for a second. Listen, I don't think any of us are this touchy, feely bullshit that they're expecting. Everyone I've ever known is dead. Or fucking near ancient. I was frozen for 80 years, and all the shit that's happened since I was frozen, it's different. It's changed, man. I mean, fucking my brother's great-grandchildren are alive. And they don't even know who I am. I'm just some name on a wall to them. Do you have any idea what that shit does to you? I can imagine. For a minute, I was a name on a wall to a lot of people. Now I'm alive. My dad still thought I was dead, even after I called him a while back. It's not easy, Victor. None of it's going to be easy for a minute. You might not want to talk about it, but it happened. You can't change that. I know I can't change that, man, but still. All of us are the same way. Do you really think we were like being reminded of this every day? I mean, if I could, I would just go out there and fucking do my own thing. I want to just be left alone. Go to a place where I could just break shit and get this out. Get this out of me. I know. It's not gonna be easy for a while. Hell. When we go out there, if I take you with me, I can show you a place. You might like it. But if you get too out of control, then I might not take you back. Got it. Right now, Deku turning his head when the door does open. And Chloe does go to lean out, asking if she's interrupting the conversation. No, I'm fine. Deku taking a drink from the container of juice. And she does talk about it. Well, if he's not going to make breakfast, then she is. But he is going to owe her one. Her giving Deku a bit of a wink, turning to Victor and nodding to him, before he does it a wave and look back at Deku, talking about how he's got it easy, before he does a turn and leave. And Deku, he does see the way the man does carry himself. He's not happy, and he's a bit pissed off. That Deku can understand. He's having a hard time readapting. It's not working out for him. So, I'll have to move up his schedule a little bit more. They'll all go out for a group run and fight. And if he can, he'll see about getting out Victor's aggression, seeing if he can help Aiden understand more about his side. Help all of them. Then again, there is still his Tracy problem. Deku trying to ask Chloe about that, and Chloe does give Deku a mischievous grin, talking about a few things. Since today, the two are going to fight, and she does plan to plant that bitch in the dirt. Hard. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. To have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.